Joel, did you finish The Last of Us?
I haven't, no.
Oh, okay.
I actually have some thoughts about it. I'm what episode am I on? I'm like 5 or 6, I think.
You guys are so far ahead there.
It's not really actually anything. I mean, because it's really. I mean, it's incredibly faithful. So it's like if you play the game, it's.
Well, that's true too. That's fair.
And that's actually kind of one of the things where I'm like, yeah.
Is it too faithful?
I'll just save it for the podcast.
It'll
make
that
sense.
Same vein too, Joel. If you want to talk about it later on.
Well, I mean, we're warming up, so I guess this kind of is the podcast.
As is our tradition.
Where's it show?
But we don't have to. I mean, I don't want to spoil. I guess Dave does know exactly how the plot goes.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I don't think it's actually spoiling absolutely anything.
Okay, all right, let's hear it.
It's more of like, oh, well, shall we just start?
I mean, we are. This is the podcast now, Joel. Yeah.
Joel,
I'll do the intro later.
There.
Yeah, this is the cold open. Okay.
Where the heck?
Look around you, Joel. See that? That's the trenches. You're already there.
I'm on episode 8.
Okay.
Apparently.
Oh wow.
Dave, do you remember in the game when like it's all snowy and they get captured and it's that whole scenario, right?
Right. Okay.
Anyways, I'm like somewhere around there. No, I've like honestly like lost interest in it. Like I think it's good. Like it started out good, really good for me, but like I think the difference for me for the game is that it's like you just spend so much more time with Joel and Ellie, like exploring and seeing stuff. That to me, I have like just no interest in their characters whatsoever. And like Joel's character just seems so different than like the game. Like to me, I'm like, even like there's been like a tiny bit of a skirmish. I'm like, he just kind of seems kind of stupid. Like he's not stupid, but it's just like.
Just kind of.
I don't know. Like it's just weird. Like it's just like weird. It just doesn't feel like to me. It doesn't feel right. And so then I'm like, wait, you just got stabbed. Like you didn't see that. Like I don't know. Like it just feels really weird. And then like it's telling so many other stories from the game that like you saw glimpses of, which is fine, but it feels weird because it's kind of like, oh, it's like more of like flashback the show than it is about Joel and Ellie. That's like to me. I'm like kind of like, I don't mind that, but like some of the stories. Like, I remember playing in the game, I enjoyed it way more because, like, you didn't see everything. And I think, to me, they're just showing everything. Instead, I'd rather, like, I liked, like, seeing glimpses of it were, like, like in my personal opinion, was just felt more like, oh, man, what happened back then or stuff. Like, when you just got little glimpses. But I'm like, shit, okay, we were with them for, like, 5 seconds. It kind of feels like the Boba Fett show where you're like, cool, this is going to be about Boba Fett.
Oh, don't say
that. No, it's going to be about, it's going to be about every other character. Well, I'm just saying that's kind of how it feels. I will say, like in the sense of like the structure. I'm like, can I have like a few episodes of just them exploring and fighting things a little bit? Like it's just weird. Like and that's why it's kind of like just as a show, it's just like I'm kind of bored because I'm like nothing's going on, and I'm like, man, I feel like by the time in this game, like I was almost surprised. I'm like, crap, we're already at this part in the story. I'm like, I feel like I went through and learned so much. Like even like Bill's like compound, like the whole like escape with the car. Like I was like, I'm excited to see this. I'm like, oh, like a lot of those little parts I was like excited for. I'm like, we haven't seen any of this story. I think feel like with Joel and Ellie that I'm like, okay, I mean, when? And I'm like, I think I'm only got like an episode left. I'm like, that's why it's just like it's
not
weird.
Flashback the show. I mean, there's only like 2 episodes that are primarily flashbacks, but I do think if they were going to devote 2 episodes to it, it needed to be a longer season. Like if it was like a 13 episode season, I wouldn't mind as much. But I do.
But even with the snow episode right now with like the preacher guy or whatever, it's like in the game you don't go into that full story for like the first 15 minutes of the episode. It's like you encounter them from that perspective. So I think to me it's like every episode is like, hey, we just start with 20 minutes of someone else's story. I'm like, and you don't need to actually know that. And that's what I think feels weird. I think it'd be better if, you know, if the show was longer and it started in a different way, like then it led into that. But it's like, this is a very short kind of series so far. And I mean, like, Dave. Honestly, I spent actually a lot of time actually like logging kind of time as I'm watching it. And there isn't that much time actually with Joel and Ellie compared to the rest of the show. There really isn't. Like it's like, half of the show is not them.
I mean, not compared to the game for sure. I think Ben brings up in the chat a good point. He says that you're watching Joel, not playing Joel, and so you miss out on a lot of the time where they just let you be with the characters and breathe, which is a difficult part of a game adaptation. I
think it's weird is because the game is like, there's so many high energy moments that like it just feels like a really different show compared to like the story I played.
Right.
Like, and that's what's weird. It's kind of like, oh man, those clickers are crazy. It's like barely nothing, and so it's like, it's just weird. Like to me, it's just like it's just almost like a different tone. Like the first episode, like of them escaping in the plane crash, like felt really good. And it was like, this is a cool way to like adapt what happened in the game in a short period of time. And it felt really good. So I was like really excited from that. And then it was like, man, this show is damn slow. Like for being like what I remember in the game, like the rainy nights and the storm and the muddy and stuff.
The game has a lot of slowness too. I don't really think it's slowness
I know that,
as much
but
as it's like breathing room.
I'm saying it's slow where you like every episode starts and you're like, I don't need to know that part of that character. Like even like the dad and the son or whatever, like that story. Like you actually don't need to know almost any of that
the older brother
before they meet them. Sorry, our older brother, not dad.
Obviously, you don't. You didn't need to know a lot of that story.
You really didn't need to know any of that.
Yeah,
you didn't need to know any of that story for that episode to almost be better. Like it's fine to tell it, and it was told well, but like. For Last of Us show,
I don't disagree with you on that part. That
like this
I think given the amount of time
that's why. So I'm like, I don't know if I can. It's hard to honestly finish because I'm like, I just don't really care because I don't care about Joel or Ellie really at all yet.
Now, Joel, so are you watching when you watch an episode? Are you paying attention, watching the entire thing in one go, or are you watching like 10 minutes in the morning and like 10 minutes later that afternoon?
That doesn't matter because I've watched.
That's not an answer.
No. Listen to me. I'm saying I've watched other shows that I'm completely engrossed, and I might be able to watch it in 45 minutes or 30 minutes or the whole episode. I'm saying like, okay, I'm really enjoying. I don't even know what's called the second Game of Thrones, whatever the heck is.
House of the Dragon.
I wasn't really interested in watching it, but I was like, I'll just check it out. But I'm like, it just feels so much better. Like, and even though the pace is still slow, it's just like. I don't know. The dialogue is better. Like I'm just more interesting
because
I'm like, I don't know. It's like I've played the game, so I know beats are coming up and stuff. But it's like, like that wasn't even more interesting than what I thought you could even do with that scene if you wanted to. It's kind of like, I don't know. Even with the preacher man, like of course you're gonna be the bad guy. Like it just felt like we know, and that's why it wasn't. That's why I feel like it's not needed because what's going to happen.
Well,
so
yes, we've played the game. I mean, that also makes a difference. Like,
but in the game, it played out differently. Like I'm saying, you didn't have that whole story. You learned it in a different way. I'm saying they're showing you more stuff that you don't need to know, and it's like it's obvious why the game, I think, story worked better in that way.
I understand what you're saying. I don't agree with all of it. So by contrast, I thought House of the Dragon did a really bad job, like with the time skips of. Other than what's his name, Viserys, looking like comically.
I'm only like 4 episodes in, just to let you know. Too.
Okay.
I don't care if you spoil too. Honestly.
Okay. Well, other than Viserys looking like comically older every episode, where like you think surely he'll be dead by the next one, he can't get older, and then the next one they somehow figure out a way to like age a corpse even farther. I thought the time skips and stuff they just jumped too quickly for some of that, and I thought some of the characters were a lot weaker. Biggest thing was like the writing was good. It wasn't Game of Thrones seasons like 1 through 3 good, but it was pretty good. Honestly, I enjoyed the Rings of Power more than House of the Dragon. Both good shows. They don't have to directly compare to each other, but
here we go.
I had some I had some disagreements like with Rings of Power. I think like everybody who likes Lord of the Rings does. So I'm not saying it's a perfect show. Just as far as overall enjoyment, House of the Dragon for me was a little more boring, a little more like, yeah, it's good. I mean, like, I'm glad I watched it, but like, I don't know if I'd go back and rewatch it, So I guess I'll agree with you on the Last of Us part where if they were going to have this many flashbacks and other story perspectives and things, I wish we had another like 3 to 4 episodes of the show because I think that would have easily... That could have filled it enough because I thought the stuff we had.
Yeah, I was surprised because I thought there was going to be like 13 episodes when I was like, wait, there's 9 or 10?
I think the CG budget, the visual effects budget is super expensive. This game, this show is like as expensive as House of the Dragon, which is kind of insane to think about.
Yeah.
I think it's just weird because I'm like, even with, I forget what the what's that one woman who's kind of like running that one town or whatever. It's like, to me, it's like, it was just such a weird character because I'm like, I don't remember that from the game, or if there was, I'm like, it just felt so weird. I was like, is this late? I'm like, why is everyone running? Like, what is going on?
I mean,
like,
I think all that's
to me,
accurate.
It just felt like, but I guess, I mean, it makes me want to replay the game because I'm be like, I remember.
Well, Joel, good news.
This,
you can replay the game on PC. The PC port just released.
Maybe I should get a PC.
But you shouldn't.
However,
do they have 4 gigahertz out yet?
You could play it on a Steam Deck. You could play it on a Steam Deck if you got one of those. However, it doesn't run very well, unfortunately. This is not the same. What's the Blue Point is the really good porting company.
Oh yeah.
This doesn't appear to be a Blue Point game. This appears to be a much worse one. And so you're thinking like, oh man, new Naughty Dog port. Like, it is not. Apparently,
what I've heard, the studio is like 0 out of 2 on PlayStation ports now. Like, Sony gave them 2 of their highest end ones. I forget the last one. I've already forgotten the last one. But they've ruined 2 of them now.
I mean, I think the last one was
it's
Uncharted.
Weird because,
like
Uncharted. It was
right.
Uncharted.
So both Naughty Dog games, and they've done a bad job at both.
They brought Uncharted to PC.
Yeah, Uncharted: The Lost Legacy to PC.
Oh, okay.
But still, I mean, that's good.
I saw a screenshot, like right at the beginning of the game, where someone had like a very high-end new graphics card, and in one of the first scenes, the game like ran out of video memory, and instead of like shuffling things around, it just stopped rendering stuff. So like the background looked awesome, Joel looked awesome, but then like all of his facial hair was like just black. So it was like his eyebrows were just like black blocks. It was like somebody had like forgotten to finish the render.
Man,
just ran out of memory.
That's weird. I wonder why I wonder if it's just because they know like everyone's played it on PS5. Like if you want it,
no,
like,
it's just they contracted out to it because people haven't played it on PC and want to, and games on PC have a longer tail.
Is the Horizon games okay on PC?
Yeah, I think only the first ones come out on PC, but yeah, it runs great. People like it. Niffy Pop says, unpopular opinion, I had trouble getting into the Last of Us show. No, the game like is very critically acclaimed, but the first and second game are not for everybody. Like I think them making a faithful adaptation of it, and I would still say this is a pretty faithful adaptation, that does not mean it's going to be for everybody. I am so pumped to see what they try to do with season 2. Joel, did you play The Last of Us Part 2?
I haven't.
How much do you know about the story?
I feel like I know a decent bit,
okay.
But like I know it's a really long game.
It is. I've got it on the PS4 copy if you wanted to borrow it. But Dave,
yeah, I've watched some gameplay and stuff, and I'm like, it's funny. Even like thinking about playing the first one, I'm like, I just don't know if I can go into that drabness again. Like I'm just like,
right.
I don't know. Because I think there's just I don't know. There's just other games that I'm like into that, and I'm like, I don't know if I can do it.
That's fine. But The Last of Us Part 2, I get why it was divisive for people, because it does something that's pretty rare in video game stories. Like it actually tells a really artistic story in a kind of action stealth game. But what I really liked about it was you have to like let go and let the game tell you the story it's trying to tell you, and not try to figure it out, or not try to like carry your opinions through it the whole time. Like if you just let go, it's a really good story and it's really challenging. But all the people who hated it, and like ignoring all the trolls online who were just mad because they can't understand complex stories, I guess. Like they just wanted Joel do bad stuff to people, and they were mad about that. Or girl have muscles too big, that bad. Like ignoring all those people, like I think the story was not for everybody though. Like it definitely challenged you on conceptions you would bring into the game and things you think you know or think make sense, and then it really pokes at them the entire time, and by the end you're just kind of sitting there like, oh, like it. I'm trying to think of what's a show or a movie or something that gives you that same feeling, where by the end,
Last Jedi. You just have to let go.
Maybe
kill it if you have to.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
They kind of let go, Joel.
I'm not sure we're talking quite about the same thing.
Like therapy,
right? Yeah, Joel, you haven't let go of anything. I'm sorry.
Dude, I can't even hate watch Mando anymore. Like I'm just done.
Okay.
The only thing
Like
that Joel's
I
let go of is his
I watched 3 minutes of the latest season. I was like, no, I can't do this. Like,
you were like, nothing can grow in this earth anymore. It's
I just can't.
Actually, Deranger he brings up a good one in chat. 7, the end of 7, the movie where like, have you ever seen that?
Oh yeah. I know.
Where by the end, you're just like, I just feel dirty. Like, I don't know. You don't know how you feel.
You just know you don't like it. You don't like any of the feelings that you're feeling.
Yeah,
at the end.
yeah. So the second game I think is an absolute masterpiece, but I totally understand why a lot of people don't like it. Like, it's one of those where it worked for me. That doesn't mean it would work for everybody. So I hope the show stays pretty true to it, because man, people are going to be pissed, and I'm going to enjoy it.
My only commentary on the show, being the slow slacker 2 episodes in, is that boy, do I remember way more of the game than I thought I would. Like, even in down to individual scenes. And Jess, watching the first episodes with me too, she actually remembered the car sequence in the town.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, like that was like 100% like the game. She watched me play through the original on Joel's borrowed PS4 back in the day. Well worth it.
Well,
game. Quick question on
Yeah.
Last of Us subject. Is the multiplayer game still coming out?
No idea.
The last I heard was I believe they're still working on it. They talked about it being the game ever. Like, basically it's their biggest project ever. That's the last thing I've heard. Stuff.
The Last of Us multiplayer
Yeah.
is?
So, like, to me, from because they've released some screenshots, or sorry, like art shot or concept art or something like that, and it looks like they're almost trying to build just a giant world, and I don't know. I honestly don't know what they're trying to do with it. That I will definitely play if they can pull out some multiplayer, because I love The Last of Us multiplayer. But yeah, who knows?
That's
I
what
really
I was
don't
going
know.
to say is that the reason I'm still anxiously waiting news is because as much as I hate first-person or third-person shooters on consoles, I don't. Outside of Halo felt good, but just a controller for me on shooters never felt good. But for Last of Us, I was okay with it because of how slow the pacing was, and for me, the gameplay in the Last of Us multiplayer, despite my issues with console controls, that was up there with like the original Rainbow Six Siege, like the first few years of Siege tactical gameplay, and the first like 6 months of Wildlands. Like, that level of tense tactical gameplay, small lobbies, like, it just, if I could have a little sliver of that back, oh man, I'm all in.
Yeah. Speaking of all in, we are all in to the Casual Shenanigans Gaming Podcast, a podcast.
That might be one of your best transitions ever that I'm interrupting right now.
Yeah.
They've completely ruined.
I'm just so impressed.
Thank you. A podcast all about the irreverent love of gaming. I'm one of your hosts, Jeremiah, and tonight I am joined by the Ranger.
10 out of 10 transition.
And what did we decide for Joel? What is Joel? The Lord of the Dance.
the game master.
Oh yeah, that's what it was.
Do not peek behind the curtain.
Okay, Dave, that's what we're gonna do in the future. If we remember this a month from now when we do another episode, is I'll call him the Lord of the Dance, and then you just like lean back and yell from the background, "Don't peek behind the curtain," like in a creepy voice. Anyway,
that was both creepy and unsettling.
we're gonna segue into this news item that I'm making the main topic of the podcast, because right before we went live. Look, you guys know how it is. 3 middle-aged guys, sometimes 4 with James, trying to play games every once in a while because these 2 sellouts had kids. Joel, right before we went live, said, "Hey, what about E3?" Joel, would you say what your understanding is of what's been going on with E3 the last couple of years?
Like, I honestly can't remember if we had E3 the last 2 years. Obviously, we had COVID and stuff like that, so I know at least one was canceled, but I'm like, I just can't remember because of all the different things. You have the Nintendo Directs, you have like the PlayStation, PSX, Christmas special or whatever it is. Then you have Summer of Gaming. Then you have, what's his name? Gamer narrator dude. You know what I'm talking about. Host guy. What is his name? Jeff something. Whatever.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
Probes.
about.
No, you know.
Nope, that's not him.
You know what?
Jeff Keighley.
Joel's new name for the
You get the
podcast.
idea. You get the idea. That guy. He's got his
Jeff
show. Game Awards.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, Joel, the news as of today, this afternoon, is E3 is dead.
Oh. All right.
So the plan this year was supposed to be the big return of E3. Post-COVID, everybody's here. We balling. And that got off to a slow start because in January, Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo all declared that they wouldn't be taking part. Now, they'd still be doing like their own events the week of near Los Angeles. So the same thing we've had before.
E3's
where it's like,
dead
okay,
without
you're
them.
not
E3
at E3,
is dead
but like,
without them.
Right. But Ubisoft pulled out earlier this week.
Oh, man.
And so Reed Pop, which one runs PAX, New York Comic Con, and other conventions, 1 month ago said that E3 23 was full speed ahead. And now they sent out an email today that says this was a difficult decision because of all of the effort that we and our partners put towards making this event happen. But we had to do what's right for the industry and what's right for E3. For those who did commit to E3, we're sorry we can't put on the showcase you deserve and what you've come to expect from Reed Pop's event experiences. So they say they're going to continue to work together on future E3 events, which sounds to me like E3 is permanently dead. Everybody switched to the streaming area, and I'm actually kind of sad about it. How do you guys feel?
Yeah, I'm sad because I miss the bad keynotes too, but like I just miss the kind of week of just the time to like talk about games and reveal big games and stuff like that.
Yeah. Did you miss that week or did you miss that time in your life?
Both. I mean, like honestly, both. Like me and Joey, we would always get pizza and like we just put the stream on in the evening, and like some of them go late and you just fall asleep or whatever. But it was always fun because like you'd want to wait to the end, maybe get that Zelda reveal or Metal Gear Solid or just something, or even the stupidest game you've never heard of that you probably will never play. That's just like some developers so excited about it, like you're always gonna get that. And heck, freaking I miss the Connect videos even. Like it's so stupid, but like I kind of miss that, But yeah, because it was fun because you'd have the Xbox and then you'd have PlayStation, then you'd have Nintendo, and then you have the breakouts, stuff like that. Yeah, it was a fun week.
What's some of your favorite E3 memories, like watching E3? I've got a couple. I'll start off with one because I proposed it. The week, remember that one year where James drove into town?
Oh, yeah.
It's right after I'd moved into the town you guys live in, and he came over and we like made podcast content all week and we watched every
and then
thing together.
That was Fallout 4,
That was the
right?
one that was Wildlands. That was the one where we Fallout was 2 years before.
Okay.
But this is when we were just dogging on Wildlands because of the terrible demo. And remember with the Xbox showcase where they kept going, like they introduced Xbox Play Anywhere and they were like exclusively on Xbox NPC.
Yeah.
NPC. And we were looking at each other like, holy crap, is Microsoft about to do it? Like we take it for granted now, but that was the E3. They're like, guess what? All of our games are going to come to all of our platforms day one. And everyone was just
also, we've forgotten what the word exclusive means.
I loved like even the Division. Remember the Division reveal and then the, hey guys, I'm sitting here on my iPad. You guys want me to back you up?
I'm here on my tablet. Can I play too?
I mean, I miss all that crap. Like it was good.
Basically, you miss Ubisoft being cringy. Is what?
Well, because you'd have that, but like
we can still have that.
I think it'd be hard pressed to find people who just didn't enjoy that week in general. Even if you get the crap or you'd get the Diddy Kong Country plates and dish cups, that you think a game's coming out and it's like, no, we're adding one more character to Digicon on your watch. It's like, what is this crap? No one wants that. But yeah, so I'll miss that because
Geralt of Rivia returns.
I think I miss it because I think now, I mean, the approach now, it seems to be, they're just kind of like, we're gonna wait until we want to reveal our game whenever we want, which like in some sense makes sense, but it kind of sucks because when there are like announcements now, it always just feels like. Should I tune in or not, or is this going to be another one of the small things? So E3, it was like the Christmas of a video game, so you kind of like anticipated big stuff. So now when they have other reveals, it is harder to kind of like find out like, is this actually going to be a big event? Like, should I tune in? Like, I don't know. Like, there's some that kind of tease. You kind of like, even like, Bethesda or stuff, like they'll like tease some of these events. You're like, oh, it's going to be, it's like an Elder Scrolls Online thing, which is cool. But
Right.
it kind of teases like, are we going to find out more? No, it's just, it's like, here's a random thing.
Bethesda also used to tease Elder Scrolls games
I know.
at its.
They used to make Elder
conferences, but it's
Scrolls
been 12
games.
years. Right. So, say these Rockstar.
I
used to
do
be
hope that
games,
their new game,
except for money.
their new game on Xbox, like, if I were them,
Starfield?
Starfield, they 100% need to have like a computer where you can play Skyrim in the game. That would just be amazing.
That would be
like
pretty
you're
amazing.
like in the ship, you're waiting for it to go.
Even if you didn't want to play that game, you're gonna buy it and you're gonna log some hours.
Like that.
Well, you're obligated. I feel
Joel,
like.
has Skyrim come out in VR yet?
It came out on PSVR 1. It hasn't come out on PSVR 2 yet. And if it does,
Do you have a PSVR? You're gonna buy it.
100%.
Do you have a PSVR too?
Yeah.
I would love to borrow it to try Gran Turismo. I was talking to somebody at work
Yeah, you
and
sure
they
can.
bought one for Gran Turismo and they said it's actually incredible.
Yeah, you sure can. It's
how good
it
it is.
really is. It's awesome, dude. The one cable is pretty phenomenal, actually. Like, and
You know what's even better than that?
no cables.
No cables. Oculus Quest
But it's
2.
interesting because even like having a kid now, I'm able to like quickly just store it and just put it somewhere else, and then I can just literally plug one cable because I'm always plugging a cable in to charge the controllers or something, and I'm like, this is great. I'm like, honestly, it probably would not be possible with the old one because of all the different breakout boxes. It was way more tedious to unplug because like even like the headphone cords and stuff like this, it is really, really seamless. And so I've only gotten to play it. I think I've gotten played maybe about 7 hours of it, and then like I got sick and my head was all fuzzy, and it's like that's the suckiest part about VR is like if you have a headache or anything, you're like just can't play. But I've been playing Call of the Mountain, the like Horizon Zero Dawn type game.
Okay.
That one's.
Did you ever put the headset on your kid and just tell him like, oh, this is Resident Evil. You're gonna take a nap over here today.
He just like sleeps in the crib of like pig, just like no, he hasn't tried it yet.
I said this to Joel. Jeremiah, you probably remember too. The joke we made years and years ago about like showing Grandpa like Normandy VR and like the PTSD sinks in. Flackfire on YouTube did a little YouTube short that was basically that. I laughed so hard. There was a beach defense game that was basically a Normandy beach defense game. Like you're just on a German machine gun just mowing down Americans. He just showed himself, lit up the game. He's like, oh, let me play some of this great new VR, beach defense game. He's like, oh, I don't have any sound. What's going on? And he zooms in on like the taskbar and it's like connected to Grandpa's Bluetooth earbuds. He's like, it just cuts. I was like, oh, someone did it. Someone did our joke.
Oh, that's great. Joel, what's your favorite E3 memory?
My favorite E3 memory, I think, is
Yes, that's what I asked.
Half-Life 2.
If you don't say going to E3 at my expense, I'm going to be really offended.
Well, then you're going to be offended. It was Half-Life 2 for sure, seeing like the first glimpses of it.
Oh, well,
Because
all right,
Wait,
I can't.
you were watching E3 when Half-Life 2 was announced?
Yeah, dude.
Sometimes I forget you're almost 40.
Yeah, I've been around a while. But in 2000, it was.
I have TV or internet to watch it. Then
I think it was
wouldn't have been able to see it.
2003 when every once in a while I'll look it up on YouTube just because it's just like it brings back memories. But like watching it, live. Oh my gosh, it was so cool. And that was when like everything was closed doors and you'd only kind of see little but I miss some of those because like you got off the cuff stuff. Like it was Gabe Newell like off the corner and he was just talking audio commentary of like, what was going on, but just understanding the tech of what they did. It was just like mind blowing when it went from the G-Man of the 1998 game to that. It was just like, what? How is this possible? Oh yeah, that was really awesome. But I think outside of that, I think probably Fallout 4. That was a really fun time. I
remember how excited you got about all the merch.
Sure. Yeah.
The Pit Boy, the Pit Boy on your arm. I think it was you and James that were just like over the moon about that.
Oh yeah.
How often did you wear that Pit Boy?
I think I wore it like 5 times.
Did you end up selling it, or do you still have it somewhere?
I don't even remember what happened.
You threw it away because I asked for it the other year for a prop, and you said
I think I
thrown
finally
it
got
away.
rid of it, or my brother sold it. I forget.
Nice.
But-
What about you, Dave?
Yeah.
I'll just make a note here on the merch, remembering how excited we were for all that. We had no idea what was to come. The amount of merch that Bethesda has just cranked out for Fallout is overwhelming. I mean, I'm wearing one of the shirts right now, so I can't say much.
Well, at the time, you didn't know that like Fallout was going to turn into what it turned into. Like everyone knew that a new Fallout game was going to be popular, but I think Fallout 4 had a lot more staying power than Fallout 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fallout 4 is like Elden Ring of Dark Souls, I would say. You know, like because Fallout 3.
Can you break that down for us, Joel?
Yeah, okay.
Fallout 3
Explain
was very, very popular, and then you had Skyrim after that, and Fallout New Vegas.
Oh, I see.
But I'm saying, like, it was already very popular, but, like,
popular.
Elden Ring just basically said, hey, brought Dark Souls to the masses.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yep. Yeah, it's crazy how popular that was.
For Fallout 3 versus 4, it's easy to forget how very old school RPG like the combat was in 3, even though it was first person and in a fully 3D engine. Like Fallout 3 still feels like it has some chains holding it down from like old RPG Bethesda ways of doing things, whereas Fallout 4 felt much more like an action shooter with an RPG kind of framework holding it up. So it just had a lot more mass appeal, I think, because of that.
Yeah.
And then the settlement buildings ended up being like, that's still a thing today. People still building that game like crazy.
When you say that's still a thing today, you mean you made it still a thing today, Dave? What are you talking about?
I got left behind.
Really?
I mean, I slowed down a lot earlier than other people did. There are still people going ham in that settlement building
Are
stuff.
they getting views?
I'm not really talking about the viewership content, but the modding framework. Have you heard of Sim settlements for Fallout 4?
No. Did someone remake The Sims in Fallout?
It's beyond that. They made it into an actual functioning city building simulator where you have objectives. Like there's the aesthetics part of building, right? Like that I enjoyed. But someone basically built a modding framework that is incredibly deep and is a secondary game unto itself.
What?
Where you have objectives to meet to make your settlers happy beyond just what the base game offered. So it's like playing a city management sim.
Oh my gosh.
In first person. I would love to play it. Honestly, I've wanted to play it for years, but my modding House of Cards installation is so fragile. I'm afraid to mess with a second install of the game to try it. But yeah, like that I think actually did add a lot of long-term appeal to the game, and mods like that. As far as E3 goes, I'll circle back to a point that Niffypot made in the chat, and wondering how it's going to affect the indie developers. For me, that's the saddest part. Is Joel? You remember like they had 3 halls of indies like around the giants.
Oh yeah.
In the middle at E3, and it was 2017, wasn't it? We went.
Yeah, I think so. Mm-hmm.
Holy crap! It's been 6 years.
Let me see. Whenever Super Mario Odyssey came out,
It's been 6 years, I think. 2017.
Yep. Well, yeah, no, it was probably 26. Yeah, no, it came out October 27th. So yeah, it was that summer. Man, that's wild.
Wow.
Got it. As cool as it was to see the big shows with all the flashy presentations, we still have that. You know, everyone's still doing their own thing, but being able to kind of just walk around, and we just hopped into a bunch of indie stuff along the way. But fondest memory for me in person was Joel and I spent like 2 full afternoons with the Kingdom Come devs.
That was awesome.
Like we went for one of the official presentations once, and they're like, "Oh, you guys just come on back anytime. Like, come on back." And like, "Oh, we'll be back." And hanging out with them and getting to see the game in person twice that week, and that was like peak indie, true dev excitement moments there. It was so cool to see. Best memories for me there.
That was so much.
And then of course, like you said, Jeremiah, the whole Fallout 4 year, like. That was a full-on hype train for all of us.
Nice. Good times. E3, may you rest in peace. I guess.
Do you guys think they're going to try again at this point?
They might try, like, probably some nostalgia relaunch in a few years. Like, they'll try that angle or something, trying to make people like Joel who miss the good old days, like, recapture him of, hey, this E3 is going to be streamed in 480p, and we're not going to post any articles afterwards about any of the stuff that you see. You just have to watch it live, and then you're not going to hear about these games for 2 more years or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, I love when Bethesda announced Skyrim. You know, like when they came out with the like chanting choirs. Do you remember that? Like they just announced just the title. That was it. They didn't show anything. That was the year before, and then the following year they showed off gameplay and stuff.
Oh
like,
man!
Imagine.
Yeah, I mean those are. I mean, yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't know. It's just interesting.
Yeah. But That's all about games that you might play in the future.
Are you trying to do another segue
right
here?
Now? What games are we playing? I can see where you're going.
There's a little bit of tripping up there, but I still accept it.
Joel, what have you been playing?
Who's going first?
Yeah, what have you been playing?
I was like sick for like the last like 2 weeks ish, and so it was like off and on, and so just my head was kind of foggy, so I wasn't able to play too much. But right before then, I had finished up God of War Ragnarok, and then I was playing some Call of the Mountain VR.
Mm-hmm.
And
so how's Ragnarok?
It's funny. I obviously I stuck through it. I think I put about 30 hours in the game to do. That's basically the main story, because I did some of the side quests, but I'm not really that into a lot of the side quests in that game. I was like really let down at the actually end. It was just interesting. Like it was really, really good, but it was like, huh. Did you beat it or anything, or did you play it or no?
I haven't played it yet. I really like the first one, but we're gonna play it at some point.
There was parts that was like really, really good, but I was like, huh, interesting.
I don't mean this in judgment, but I'm just putting some things together. Don't want to watch The Mandalorian. Didn't like The Last of Us. Didn't enjoy God of War. What are you enjoying right now, buddy? Like, I just want to make sure. Are you doing okay? Are there things bringing you joy? Entertainment wise.
Well, I mean, my scavenger hunt, so yes, it is bringing me extreme pleasure.
Wait, that's where all your time. Are you doing another season of that?
It's going on right now, dude.
Oh, it's happening right now.
Oh yeah.
Where can I see updates and stuff? I said I was interested.
Oh, I'm sorry. I totally forgot that you actually did. I'm really actually sorry, because I thought the last time we talked about it, I said you wanted to be a part of like the end event stuff.
Yeah, I don't want to play.
Yeah, no. You can text me.
You can text me. It could be a Saturday afternoon, and I could have nothing going on, and you could send me a message that was right down my street. I'm not going.
Okay, yeah.
I don't want to see whatever.
I'll text you the videos. But do you want to hear what the theme is this time? Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So
fight a homeless drug addict on that island. Or?
Dave, you better back me up, you lore whore. But it's actually pretty awesome this time around. So I have 10 audio cassettes, right? And so the theme of this one is around the legend of Bigfoot. Okay. So it's
okay.
So what you're doing is you're actually like picking up like dropped items, learning about some person who found out the true mystery and truth about what is Bigfoot and the monster and everything. And so I created and this was crazy. So I used, obviously I've read a whole storyline to connect for 10 tapes. So it's like each tape is kind of like a phase of hiding items in each. So what I did last time, it was kind of like Survivor. Like it's still kind of similar, but you're finding items left by this thing. But it was like this guy who's a Marine sent in to this specific like zone to take out somebody with like very high intel. Well, anyways, his whole squad gets wiped out by this monster, right? And so you're basically, he survives, but he's kind of learning what happened because the whole government disavows him and his team and everything. And so he's trying to figure out what the hell happened. So each tape kind of gives a little bit more of the story. And the character left behind on his computer, in case he dies, that basically he wants to leave this information to someone who's trustworthy because he found out something that he thinks is world changing, right? So each cassette tape, as you drop and you find it, you're kind of being evaluated. So the whole idea is that I'm the game runner. I'm kind of this AI that is run on this computer that's basically spitting out codes. So you have to find 10 codes at the end of each tape. And so at each tape that they listen to,
there's 100 codes.
So sorry. There's 10 codes to fill in, like
10 tapes. Okay,
10
okay.
Yeah, there's a code at the end of each tape.
One code per tape.
And so like after you find a tape, that kind of starts the next part of the phase or whatever. And so, but anyways, there's been like top secret documents I've printed out and put it in there, and it's all kind of connecting to this lore as you're kind of figuring out the story. But it's all actually because instead of like last time where it was like who's the best survivor and who played the best and everything, this one's I'm keeping a log of infractions, like things they like do, like every time they play, if they play the game well or if they're like little devious or chivalry, that kind of stuff. So I'm keeping track of everything as they play. So that will kind of come into play at the end. So it's not just
do they know you're keeping track of everything?
Yeah, they know. Well, it's been a part of the lore and all the little like things that we've been doing. But Anyway, so it's all leading to something good, but I don't want to spoil it because I'll just let you watch the videos. But it's neat because
Okay,
I bought an old tape cassette recorder, so I've been using Chat GPT to like take my script, put it in first person as if it's an
this is taking a dark turn.
No, I'm saying to put it in first person as if it's like a audio log recorded by someone, kind of like in BioShock or something, right? And then then Eric helped me find a voice thing, and I put it through that, and it literally records this voice. I'll send you a link. It's just crazy. Like, it sounds really good, but it's basically...
No, I know. That's why I'm saying, like...
Yeah, it takes my...
You're playing with dark magic here,
I know.
boy. You're like...
But like
yeah, Joel, when Skynet rises up using your script...
I'm training an AI on this alternate history of Bigfoot. I don't think anything bad's going to come out of this.
Jeremiah, here's the best part, right? So, one of the tapes that I hid, right, in a location in town, completely abandoned, just beer bottles everywhere. Like, it's a crap. You'd know where it is. Well, here's the best part. So I hid it, and there was this old, crappy vault. And I was like, oh, it'd be cool to, like, hide it in the vault. So anyways, they went out hunting for it. Well, my brother found it, and he's like, hey, all I found is just an empty manila envelope. I'm like, what? I'm like, no, there should have been, like, a plastic case. Like, it looks like a little, like, shock case. You'd put, like, a, hard drive in or something like that, right? And I was like, there should be a tape in there and a manila envelope with, like, a top secret document. So I send a digital file to them so everyone could see, because not everyone if Jared gets the prize or the tape, I have a video version of the tape that they can listen to, and it has a little cassette moving and everything.
So everyone can keep playing even if they're not the one who got it first.
Exactly, yeah. But I wait for the person who got it to listen to it first, because whatever they want. Well, anyways, so I'm like, oh, that's interesting, because I was like, when I left, right before I left, on a backside, leaving this little, like, crappy place, at a sign I was like, oh, what, like, security cameras or whatever. But it was like, if you saw the place, there's been thousands of people that go through this area. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not really worried. I'm not like, oh, no, I'm getting in trouble. But I'm like, I saw a camera thinking, like, and then I'm like, what do they have, like, the security people come out and take it? But I'm like, then why would they leave the manila envelope? So I think it's just someone like me who was just exploring, found it. But I'm laughing so hard because imagine someone has this tape and is like listening about like Bigfoot legends and like government conspiracies. But then the best part, right, is so the best part is on a lot of the parchments and little prizes and scrolls and stuff that like, so like you might get a little item that basically gives you a power that says, let's say if Dave was playing, you could be like, I'm going to delay you 10 minutes from the hunt. So basically like you have a 10-minute advantage, right? Well, on specific ones, there's invisible ink on it that have little bonuses. So way later on, I'm gonna basically one of the little prizes might be like just a black light, like a little tiny one, and it'll give a clue and be like, you can check through all of the items you already collected, and some actually have cool little surprises on it. Well, on the like top secret document, there's all these like stuff written on it. I can just imagine someone's like, what's going on?
Joel, if someone starts a religion based off of this,
oh man, yeah, it's gonna be kind of wild. But
so I think that answers the question of that's where the game master's heart truly lies.
Because I finished the documentary, and it's just, well, you all know,
nothing's tickling those creative juices right now, playing games and stuff.
I was having a conversation with Ben the other day, and he loves, my friend just loves finding ways to monetize stuff. Like he's so all about that. He loves it. And he's so good at it. He really is good at it. But we were talking about stuff, and I was like, there's certain things I'm like this is like, it's sacred for me. This is like my sacred creative part. Like I don't want to monetize. I don't want to.
This is my sacred cult stuff. Don't mess with my sacred cult stuff.
But I'm like, it's like this
isn't a hobby to me. This is like a religion.
But I'm like, there's like, I don't know. It's like, I don't want to be in a band, but I do want to play guitar. Like it's something I really enjoy, and it's like cathartic for me, and it's fun. I love telling stories, so it's like in a way, but I'm doing it with my brothers and friends and stuff like that. So it's just, that's what makes it really fun. So, but we have.
Yeah. I'm going to step in here, Jeremiah, and remind you that the creative juices aren't flowing here. They are, in fact, that's true. When Joel introduced his new season to me, it was like about 2 weeks ago, he blew up my phone for an hour with like artwork and lore and audio files and script. Anytime I'm thinking like, has Joel gone too far? He's like, I just see like Joel is typing, and I was like, oh no, here goes.
I just find it interesting. Dave found out about this 2 weeks ago, and Joel said he's playing with his brothers and his friends. Yeah, this is the first I'm hearing about it. Interesting.
Well, he doesn't have enough brain power to both be a father, a game master, and involve all of
Yeah,
his
it's interesting. When I asked about the things he's like really excited about lately, I have not heard Matthew's name in quite some time.
Joel's got him like in a carriage in the middle of the woods, just sitting there watching.
Joel's like, that. I'm gonna, after someone stole that envelope, I'm gonna have to change some of my future plans. Where it was like Matthew hanging over a pool and the string is breaking. Like, who's gonna get there in time? Bigfoot strung him up.
Well, and this
maybe
time
we're not gonna do that.
Well, this time around, I've introduced hazards basically. So, well, they're not hazards. But have you ever seen the show Amazing Race? Mm-mm. There was things called detours, basically. Like, basically, if you were the first team to get there, sometimes you'd have to do an extra thing before you continued on. So anyways, there's some of those things that kind of delay, and it's been hilarious. So, but dude, Carlson is all in. He's been playing. He loved it.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, Joel sent me a.
Seems like almost everybody is participating in some way.
Yeah,
almost everybody.
Yeah, because Joel sent me the clip today of his brother finding one of the clues out in the woods, and John had gotten there like 2 minutes too late and like went slightly in the wrong direction. So Jeremiah's opening the clue up, and Joel pans over to John, standing about 20 feet away, just giving him a side eye. Just the look John was giving him. I laughed so hard, just giving him the evil eye, like waiting his turn patiently. That's what you're playing now, is your
God of War Ragnarok. Dave, what about you?
What are we doing again? I forget where I am.
We're doing What Are We Playing Since the Last Podcast, part of the show where we talk about what have you been playing since the last podcast.
Well, the first thing I want to do is, because Joel is not going to bring this up, I played the digital version of Gwent one more time with Joel, unaware that besides being Game Master, he has been busy literally plotting. He bugged me for like a full week, like, hey, let's play a lunch round of Gwent. Like, set some time aside at lunch. Let's just play a quick round. Just a quick round. Let's just do a quick round. And I should have known the amount of harassing that he was doing, that something was wrong. Because again, we played digital Gwent 2 rounds. That was like 2 months ago now, and I beat him twice in a row. So we load up, and I have literally not launched the game since the last time we played. I still have the default starting deck for my faction. We dive in. And Joel got really quiet when the game started. I mean, super quiet all of a sudden. And all of these legendary cards start flying. And he's like stacking effects and wiping effects. And I'm like sitting here on my turns. I'm like reading the cards like, okay, like I don't know what this entire effect even is. Like I don't understand what's gonna happen. I deleted one of my own cards somehow by accident off my side. Like I'm just throwing things at the wall. And Joel's like stacking and like mixing things, stealing things from my deck. He was so quiet during the game. And so I called it after that when I'm like, okay, you destroyed me. Let's come back around to this later. I feel like I need to do some work on my deck now. And then he confessed, Joel, how many hours had you watched Gwent deck building tutorial videos in the weeks leading up to that game? How many hours?
What is it called? What is it? Facebook fished you? Bat fished you? What is that? Catfish.
Catfish?
Batfish.
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 Facebook fish?
Yeah, he
batfished. That's going in the bot.
Bookfish. I bookfished you good. So, yeah, I was trying to sucker Dave into playing, as here I am in the background, dude, studying probably at least 6 or 7 hours of some nerdy ass tutorial. It was so incredibly annoying and hard to watch. But I suffered through, and I went detailed, made a deck. Like, I had to open all those freaking damn kegs or whatever just to get my cards. I'm crafting cards, like everything about it. Like, I was hating it, but I'm like, I'm gonna do this to be one.
How many of those golden kegs did you have to open, Joel?
Oh yeah, it was like 67 of them exactly. Like that's how many I had. Because
Wait, did those cost money?
No, when we got the game like ages ago, like because we've had accounts for so long, like they so redid a lot of stuff, yeah. So like they just gave away a ton. So but it takes ages, Jeremiah, to open them. You can't open them like this. You click, Then you have to choose
you have to watch the whole
it's-
animation.
It's so annoying. Yeah.
And you said 6 or 7 hours of watching tutorials,
Yes.
Joel. That's not what you ended up telling me. You later confessed to it being a lot more than that.
I mean, it could have been,
over that
but I mean,
previous
like
month.
the main tutorial I watched was 4 hours, but I had to repause, watch, look at the comments. Oh, it was horrible.
So for anybody who was listening to Joel's thoughts on The Last of Us Season 1 at the start of this and was like, I just don't agree with his take. This is how the man spends his time. But if you disagree with him, it's okay to just say, you know what? I don't think we have the same values. You can just go your separate ways. It's fine.
I destroyed Dave, and Dave, literally after I beat you, I like deleted the game. Like it's not on my Mac anymore.
I knew you were going to.
One game and done.
This was your Trojan horse. You were like, this is one for the ages.
I thought about that a few days later, Joel. I was like, I wonder if I should study too, so that we could like have an actual even fight. And I thought about it. I'm like, I bet you Joel's already deleted the game.
God,
just
immediately.
Joel, just promise me you're not going to throw that cassette player away when you're done making your game. Like, did you buy some like classic, like vintage cassette player or something?
Yeah, I actually got one. The same one that I had as a kid. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, don't throw it away. Just make sure that goes to somebody, who will appreciate it. Don't do your normal
Well, I'll
thing.
probably keep it because I'm like, my mom has a whole bunch of old cassette tapes. Actually, I think of us as kids. I might try to listen to some stuff.
Audio cassettes of y'all as kids?
Yeah.
Explain.
Like when we were
Not
kids,
home-
we would maybe
not
like tell
home movies,
stories or
just
talk.
like-
Yeah.
Oh, okay. She wasn't just like following y'all around with like an audio recorder?
We had this thing called, it was like a karaoke thing, but it was called like the sing along or something like that, but it had like a crappy microphone. And as kids, like we always record. I mean,
Nice.
if I get like the sucky part about me being a kid is I always had one tape or one VHS cassette tape. And so I would record stuff and I would have to delete my work to make new stuff. I wish I had old cassette tapes because I recorded hundreds of stories and I would record sound effects and I would have like cups and water and stuff like that. I had like jungle missions and all sorts of stuff. I'm like, I would love to hear some of that again and be like, what the heck was I doing?
Joel, we just bought tapes from other people's yard sales and overwrote their memories and traditions and treasured memories. That's how we did it. Like box full
Both
of
of
old
your
tapes
childhoods
for
seem
$5.
so very sad in very different ways.
Just one or two VHS tapes.
Dave's like, what are we having for dinner? They're like, I don't know, whatever the yard sale has for dinner.
Look, nobody else in my neighborhood had 4 different, not SNESs.
And meanwhile,
NESs.
Joel is, because I'm sure you haven't told us this story yet, but I'm sure at one point Joel was like, I wonder if I could hang myself from a tree at home as a child. And you're probably putting your one cassette tape in your fanny pack, putting it on, tying the noose. You're like, Mom will be home soon.
It's a lore.
Dave, what else have you been playing?
I've got 2 games I want to talk about briefly, and then if we have time, I might push this back to the news section. I want to talk about the upcoming year for Hunt Showdown. This game, I think, is going to have a nutty year. They released a huge roadmap video this month.
Oh, that's cool.
But 2 games up first. World War I RTS from Petroglyph Studios came out this week. The Great War Western Front.
Really?
Petroglyph made Empire at War, Star Wars Empire at War in 2006. Hugely popular Star Wars RTS game. But Petroglyph are all veterans of Westwood Studios, and everybody knows, I mean, they were the Command & Conquer guys. Like, all the Command & Conquer games was Westwood Studios. So Petroglyph, like, that's their pedigree is Command & Conquer. But they have one of the grimmest RTS games I've ever seen, just on a scale alone, based off of the Western Front World War I. It has a turn-based campaign with like a hex map where you control the front lines. You can start in 1914, early war, and unlock technology like tanks and stuff as the war progresses, or you can start late war, 1916, you have some of the tech stuff unlocked already. Then it has real-time battles with, not even kidding, like thousands upon thousands upon thousands of troops per side in the battles, with all of the stuff you'd expect, machine guns, artillery, all this stuff. And there is a unit cap at one time, like 30 units. So like a machine gun is 1 unit. A regiment of 275 men is 1 unit. So there's a population cap at one time, but if you have lots of reinforcements nearby, the battles, the scale, it's like unsettling to watch the scale. And you can sympathize just a little bit with the generals of the time and the horrible decisions that they made when you make some of the same ones. when you're, pushing an attack on a trench line. It's going pretty well. And you're like, okay, if I can just get a little more guys into the trench, I think we can push through. I recorded a video this week for the launch version of the game, and I realized at one point that on one slight attack on a capture point, I had watched 1,000 of my men die to flamethrowers and machine guns in like 20 seconds. Oh my gosh. And I stepped back, I'm like, okay, I gotta call in some more troops so we can try this attack again. And I was like, oh no, I'm doing it again.
Oh no, I'm doing a world war.
I'm doing the world war again. The game has a couple of small like audio rendering issues and some small stuff like that. But probably it's one of the only World War I RTS games out there, but a very authentic, in a very unsettling way, look at the war. Would highly recommend for anybody who enjoys.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that out. I hadn't even heard of it. That sounds right up my alley.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that big thumbs up for them on their work on that. Also, a couple weeks ago, I got to play one of those really fun indie FPS games that is never gonna have a population count, night to night, this going crazy. I'm gonna make sure I get the name of the game right here because I get these two confused. Battle Cry of Freedom. At its core, it's that it's one of the two main Civil War FPS games out there right now. And again, they don't have tons of players playing every night, but every week they have like community battles that you can like sign up for and like your regiment can join. So it's really just like a platform for virtual reenactors to like have a place to go like twice a week to do like a huge battle. It's so cool. I got to participate in a 400-person Civil War battle on like an actual a battlefield. And lore master Joel will appreciate this, right? They had so many people in this battle, all these actual like role-playing regiments, like we're the 7th Louisiana and we're actually like forming up and like fighting over here. Joel, they had a 9-man band playing during the battle. I joined one of the Union factions taking a capture point, and I heard music, like a full-on music going. And I turned around, and there was literally like a drummer and like multiple fife players in a line in full regalia playing music, like it was the start of the Civil War. I laughed so hard. They had an actual dedicated chaplain on the Union side, wearing the chaplain's garb, running around preaching scripture and encouragement.
It's like our DayZ thing, man.
Here's there's someone a Steam review. I'm skimming through them. Anyone who complains about this game takes Reb L's. Like takes L's, Joel, for the Rebs.
Yeah,
that's just like very specific Civil War complaint.
It's one of those games that, again, it's never going to be hugely popular, but it's one of those games where you step back and you go like, man, like I love that games can make this kind of thing possible. Like this is just so cool to see in action. Like you zoom out and everything's kind of like lagging a little bit because the server's about to crash from having 400 players in it. But you just see the scale of the whole battle, and it's just awesome. I gotta put a video together from that event at some point. There were some absolutely hilarious moments too. They had VoIP turned off for a while to help the server performance, and as soon as I cut it back on, I was in free cam just flying around enjoying the battle. And I watched a Confederate cavalry charge attack the Union lines, and as soon as the VoIP comes back on, I hear them like all yelling and like, "Oh, we're gonna get you, charge!" doing all their VoIP, and then this lone Confederate horse goes by, chasing like 3 Union guys away, and he's blasting Freebird over VoIP. I absolutely loved it. I just love experiences like that.
That sounds amazing.
Just in games as a whole. So that's a very fun game if you just want to join in on the official events. They have a Discord server. If you guys buy a copy of the game, you can just join in on the events. You just pick a unit and hang out with them. It was a lot of fun.
Nice.
I'll save Hunt for news if we have time.
I have been playing. The only thing I played is a little bit of Anno. Chris and I have restarted our Anno game. We played for like a couple nights and then we restarted again to up the difficulty multiple times. We're trying to give ourselves more of a challenge because in the previous ones we've just hit this tip over point where like you can just crush everybody in your path. Well, that's not happening this time. We set the difficulty a lot higher. We've lost multiple islands. Everybody hates us except for one other faction. Like we are at war with every single other faction, not by our choice. They just hate us that bad. We are in the fight of our lives right now. We're going to play more after this tonight.
Love that
It's
game.
stressful.
Man.
It takes 2 of us going as hard as we can and we feel like we're failing. So
gosh,
pretty good. Having a good time. I really haven't played anything else though. I've been It's been a lot going on, and have not had. It's not that I haven't had the time.
You're heading into autocross season, right?
I am. I had the first track day, like full track day, a couple weeks ago, and then I've had to do a lot of car work and stuff to get ready for the autocross season. And then there's just been like stuff broken. I've learned how to do a bunch of plumbing things. I've had to fix our dishwasher. I have to fix it again. Hate that stupid thing. It's rough right now. It's not that I don't have any time in the evening to squeeze in a game. I just don't think I have the energy right now. And you know, some of my former friends haven't invited me to play this like cassette-based Bigfoot game that is apparently like a lot of work's been going. It sounds like a lot of other people really are playing.
Well, I would have invited you.
I told him I didn't
want to. Yeah.
Right. I did say that actually. Yeah. Thank you for respecting my wishes, but also I didn't know everybody else was playing.
What you were saying is, no, I don't want to.
Well, I just want to be included. I just want to be included. You know, I'm gonna say no. I'll say no, but you didn't even ask.
Hey, just
because I told you I'd say no.
Well, you're going to be catching up on 4 episodes, sir.
Ooh, I'm excited. No, I think it's really awesome what you're doing, jokes aside. But yeah, that's everything that we are playing. It is now time for the rest of the news.
News time!
So we've already covered E3. This is a really brief one. Elden Ring has a ray tracing patch that just dropped for PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X. It looks like on PS5 it drops the resolution down to 1080p and 30 FPS. Not great, but what I like about it, it's not ray traced reflections, which I don't have anything against. But to me, ray traced reflections are the least good, the least cool ray tracing. I like ray traced ambient occlusion and ray traced shadows. And to me, that's what makes lighting look really, really good. Now, the art style of Elden Ring, like it's got a beautiful art style, but the lighting model and everything, it looks like old Dark Souls games. Yeah. Like, you know, it's not crazy. But ray tracing, it makes it look noticeably better. Like I've only seen the Digital Foundry video. I haven't installed the patch yet, but I think I still haven't beaten the game. I think I'm going to install that patch and give it a try. I haven't tried the game in a while. I just stopped. I think I have 2 bosses left and that's it. And I don't know. I ran out of juice.
I'm stuck on the very final one. I helped Eric beat it on his game. We got through it. It took us like maybe 5 or 6 tries. And then we've tried.
Well, if you come help me with the second to last, I'll come help you with.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
We can kind of, it takes 2 our way to the end there.
I think my character is I think it's like a level 150, I think now maybe.
Okay, I think I'm probably close to that. I'm at the point where just farming the Albernax is no longer fun because it takes too long. But yeah, and then Dave, what about The Hunt?
Yeah, so their big wintertime event wrapped up in late February, and everybody was kind of expecting like a lull. Then they came out of nowhere with 2 hour-and-a-half long update videos for the next year of content. And
what is this, Star Citizen?
I just think it's going to be a really good year.
Sorry.
Well, then the actual patch came out 3 weeks later. So
okay, never mind.
Imagine actually jumping some of the content.
You're good, dog. Keep going.
I'll go ahead and get the disappointing news out of the way first, and that's that they confirmed that the new map that they're working on, the 4th map for the game, won't be out this year. It'll be out early next year. But other than that, everything is just exciting news. New boss this summer, and they're already doing an in-game kind of mini event to find clues to help unlock what the new boss is going to be. It's going to be a new type of boss. It's going to be outside, like a roaming boss, which they had said for years that they weren't going to do because it was a thing that they had tried in pre-alpha, and anybody who was fighting the boss out in the open just got third-party constantly and it wasn't fun. But they've apparently found a way to make it fun, and I'm quite excited to see how this boss is going to work. It's just going to be very different. The bosses aren't the point of the game. You know, the PvP is the point, but the more unique elements that bring players together, the more exciting the game is. It was a huge patch that came out just yesterday that they announced as part of the roadmap plan. They reworked the entire player camera to fix the peak advantage that a lot of games struggle with. DayZ's had this issue. Tarkov's had this issue where the player camera... for Hunt, it was if you left peaked, you'd be able to completely aim your gun around the corner in first person, while the other player saw 2 inches of you because of just how the camera lines up with your weapon and your player model. They rebuilt the player camera to fix that, and it's now 90% even left to right peaking, and that's a huge gameplay issue solved because at the higher tiers of the game, people who've been playing the game for years literally would only peek you from their left side. It was kind of nuts. Once you hit a certain matchmaking level, no one peeked on the right side because of the camera issue. The game had a reload bug that had been around for a long time for the single load weapons where you would reload and then your chamber would be empty. That was pretty game breaking, and they had issues solving that and keeping it fixed. And so they rewrote the entire ammunition system in the game in like 3 months, and it launched this week and is working great. And on top of that, there's like a new quest line system. So it's like mini events in between the big live events for the game, where you have like a hunter, a legendary one you can unlock with a couple of weapons. It's almost constantly going to be going. So like whenever you play the game, something is going on that you can be unlocking or working towards. It's just going to be a really, really cool year for the game. And I think
did you say they're announcing the PS5 version or whatever, or native anything?
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
did they
I
actually
think so.
officially...
I totally forgot. They announced a new version of the engine for all platforms, including a PS5 specific update.
Have they talked anything about crossplay or anything?
Not crossplay, and I wouldn't expect it because the gameplay style is so different. Like when I see console footage of the game, it's completely different. Like people don't crouch on PC anymore once you hit like 4 stars matchmaking. Yeah. It's the weirdest thing. Like you can't. If you crouch, like you're gonna get shot in the head by a pistol from 190 meters away.
So how did you learn not to crouch?
Completely surreal. Edgar actually commented on that. Edgar like wants to know what this game did to me because I don't sit still. And to be honest, I think I would enjoy playing the console version because it's still slower gameplay. The higher tier hunt gameplay on PC is so twitchy. It's insanely twitchy.
You're playing the Counter-Strike
I like the
version of it.
Counter-Strike is a pretty good analog. At higher levels, when I first hit 5 stars, Joel, on the matchmaking, it's like the second highest tier. It's as high as I've ever gotten was 5 stars. The first pistol fight I got into, I'm like, man, this guy can't hit me at all. Like, he's a terrible shot. And then he blew the back of my brains out, and I realized it was because he was only going for headshots. And I was like, oh. So yeah, I don't see crossplay happening, but it is very exciting that they said that this year, probably this fall, new engine update, newest version of CryEngine for all versions of the game.
Dang, that's gonna be awesome.
So it's gonna be a big year for the game, and I think you can see how excited people are for the game just by the player count this week alone. All it was this patch, right? Like the new player camera, ammo updates, some content updates, kind of like a really big maintenance patch, just lots of nice stuff happening for the game, right? But no like new map or anything. They came very close, I think about 80% of the way to beating their player count record this week, just on like a small-ish update.
Gosh.
So the game has consistently set new records player count-wise. It's 5 years old this month, actually. It's one of those few games that has been growing consistently year to year. And as part of this update, they also completely reworked the intro tutorial that shows you how to play the game. They brought in Doug Cockle to do the voice, the hunter.
I know that
pleases
you greatly.
To the game. It is Louisiana Geralt.
Louisiana Geralt.
It is It is amazing.
Some of that jambalaya and Gwent.
In the chat, Ben says next time we're playing Hunt, ping him. He's only played it once, but it was fun. But he'd be way too nervous to play alone. Yeah, me and Dave could play with you. I mean, I play all the time.
I'm sorry, Jeremiah. I promised you those rounds like 3 months ago.
Oh, don't worry. I forgot.
It's all right. We've all been doing a lot of promises and not holding any of them.
This is like CSG the confessional episode. Yeah, the new intro is so well done. It does a much better job of just introducing how the game works and how the mechanics work together. And it's so well detailed too. Like, you know, it's a single player map, so they kind of went all in on the detailing. It makes you want a single player campaign for the game so much. Hold on a second, I think an alarm's going off.
Do you want to know
what I'm hearing? It's just the nuclear.
Well, if it's a nuclear side, I mean, there's nothing like what are you going to do? You know?
Yeah, let's carry on. But I wanted to end there mentioning the new super polished intro tutorial, just because I think it shows how committed they are to the game, that instead of pushing a new map out like really fast this summer, they're doing all this rework, the ammo system, the player camera, new tutorials, to make the game ready for an influx of new players. Like, it really seems like they
say
have
definitely
the
really
future in mind.
Like, so we got it on console because I was like, I mean, Dave's been playing a crazy amount of it, and I was like, oh, maybe I can play with some of my brothers and everything, because the slow calm. Like, because I remember playing at least maybe a dozen or so rounds with you back when it first came out, but it's really confusing for new people. It's like, what the hell am I doing? Like, cause it's like you're in a match and you're like, what is the point? Like, I go, what is the point going on right now? Because there's like, with the items and UI systems, kind of like, get all this stuff and unlock these characters. Not even like the DLC stuff, but you're just like, do I have to buy guns? Like, why am I buying guns? Like, do I collect them? Like, it was just kind of confusing.
You don't have to, Joel. I'm mediocre without spending any of the in-game money. I actually didn't realize I had some of that to spend for a long time.
Well, it's what I found. I mean, Dave explained it, but it's more of like, if your character survives, you kind of gain money and you get you just amass better weapons because of that. Right. The longer you live. But I that's why it was like, because it was like the first game. I was like, buy a weapon. I'm like, wait, what? What am I buying it with? Like, what am I doing? Like, don't I start with? I thought I started with a weapon. Maybe I don't. Like, I kind of forgot if it was like, battle royale. Where you like collect weapons or shotguns and stuff. That's what I remember doing. Kind of like you collected new weapons, but I'm like, I guess not, or I don't know. So, but yeah, hopefully.
What's kind of cool is they've actually added some more battle royale stuff style-wise in this patch, Joel, to the game. They've added a lot more weapon and even throwable spawns around the world. Even like saddlebags and stuff you can find now to loot. So you could actually go in like naked, and actually, if you sneak around for a while, you could collect guns and stuff and just come up with a loadout.
Oh, that's cool.
Randomly battle royale.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be stoked about it with the relaunch and stuff, especially with native and everything. Because it was fine. It was just like it's like 60 FPS, but like old PS4, and it's just so much popping. Yeah, it was like crazy.
Yeah. And on the note, you mentioned the DLC. You pointed out someone who wasn't familiar with the game opened the Steam page and like, oh, Hunt's on sale for $15, and they went to the DLC page and there was like $300 of DLC, and they were like all these characters and guns. Like, is this a pay-to-win game? As they're working, as Crytek is working to onboard players better, I really hope that they do a better job of explaining how the DLC works in the game, in that all of the paid DLC is 100% cosmetic only. It's just to support the game. There's no advantage to it whatsoever, and a lot of new players don't understand that. They look at all that DLC and they go like, "Oh, I don't want to jump into all this mess. Like, this is super complicated."
I mean, and no offense too, because I mean, like, so many games have that, so it's like, I mean, why wouldn't you think that? When you see these characters, you know what I mean? Like, that you'd like get a better weapon, you know what I mean? Especially so it's like, I think, them definitely reworking that will be in their favor, because it'll be like, oh, sweet, okay, I can jump in and I'll have the same weapons everyone else does, or like you kind of starting outside of the knowledge of being better at the game or not.
Right. And they ought to be proud of their monetization system, honestly, because besides it being 100% cosmetic only, Hunt is one of the few games that you can actually earn a pretty high amount of the premium currency, which you can use to buy the premium cosmetic stuff. You can earn a lot of that just by playing the game. I've seen players who've been playing for a few years that they like buy all the new skins that come out just with what they've earned currency-wise.
Yeah, don't listen to him about that, Joel. That's a scam. You have to kill people and do well in the game. That's what he's not telling you. Okay. And so I heard all the same things, but actually it's not how it's been working out at all.
That is a scam.
TLDR, I'm still addicted. Said help.
All right, before we wrap up tonight, it is time for 90 Seconds with Joel, a part of the podcast where Joel talks about whatever he wants for 90 seconds. Now, Joel, I see what you have written here, and I'm interested. What do you got going on here?
Yeah, so Joy and I, we were having a conversation maybe about a month ago, and as soon as we had the conversation, she's like, you needed to bring this up for 90 seconds. And so it's related to, okay, so if there's anybody out there who listens to our podcast who is like a pizza delivery person, whatever, working for Pizza Hut, Papa John's, I don't care, it doesn't matter, right? You deliver pizzas.
Could it be like DoorDash or something, or it has to be pizza?
I think more specifically like for an actual pizza company, just because DoorDash works a little bit different. You'll see. The question I had was like, you're delivering a pizza, right? You're coming up to the door of my house, right? I'm sitting on the couch. There's this awkward moment, right? And the awkward moment is you want to like be there for the door to like open them and be like, hey, thanks for the pizza. You want to be there sometimes, right? But it's also awkward. Is it awkward to like just stand by the door? Like you also don't want to stand by the door just watching them walk up. And so my question, like as someone like waiting for pizza, do you like? You almost want to hide, like if for me buying a pizza, like I don't want them to see me. I want them to knock. I'll open the door quickly and I'll be like, hey, thanks for the pizza, right?
But not in a creepy, weird way when you're just waiting by the door.
Yeah, like, just like, oh, it just happened to be there.
Like they knock once, their hand comes back and the door's already open.
They knock,
like, hey.
their hand goes through the door because the door is open already. No, but yeah, the question is, if you are in that situation, what would you rather happen? Would you like? Is it creepy? Like when you can see them in the window, like, hey, I see you coming with the pizza, and I'm ready for the door. Like, what is better? Like, there's been times where I'm like, open the door thinking they were already there, but they're not. They're just getting out of the car door. So now I'm like just stuck at the front door, like watching them as they walk up.
Do you wave?
Just like,
do you wave the whole time?
Yeah, I'm always like, hey, thanks, man, appreciate it.
Slower.
But what would
Dead
you
eyes.
like? What do you? Is it awkward for you? Is it as awkward for you as it is for us? Like, that, because it's like we want to be nice, and you're like, we don't. Which is better? I don't know.
Well, it's similar to like when a UPS guy is here, and I know there's like car parts or electronics on that truck.
Yeah.
I won't stand in the window. I will stand at the window to the side of the door that's about 10 feet away and just look through the crack and just wait, because I'm not going to greet him at the door. I'm going to wait till he rings the door. And by the time he walks back to the truck, back to the door, by the time he gets in the truck, he could turn around. Nothing's there. It's disappeared. The door opens as soon as he gets 10 feet away from the sidewalk. Whoop, haul it inside. Done.
Yeah, anyways, it was a thought, because it's like,
Joel,
I think a lot of people have had the same.
This question has made me realize something.
What?
As you would expect, like I wasn't surprised by this thinking about it. I've never spent money on DoorDash in my entire life. No delivery service ever.
Well, Dave, you've probably barely
thought,
ever bought like a soda at a restaurant.
It's rare. It's very rare. Then I thought about it. I've literally never paid for a pizza delivery in
What?
my entire life myself. Not a single time. I have always
Actually,
picked it up
I don't
myself
think I've ever paid for a
every
pizza
single
delivery
time.
either.
Really?
Yeah, it makes no
I
sense
just
to
go
me.
to the store and pick it up. I don't want someone coming to my house. I get bothered.
You don't want
this
someone
week.
coming to your house, but you're okay with UPS delivering stuff.
Well, no, it's just like in the evening,
They're my
a
friends.
pizza delivery person, it's different. Like earlier this week, some friends were over playing some games.
No, I just don't want to pay for it.
And they decided they wanted to pay for a pizza delivery, and that bothers me. I told them, like, you better tip nice and be nice, because you're sending them to my house. Like,
So did it
this
creep
is
you
your
out when I
pizza.
sent you Taco Bell to your place?
I was surprised. I was. Yeah, because some random person came up to my door, and I was like, what's going on? We could tell every time when my brother-in-law lived with us last year, every time we went on a trip, he would just become a hermit over the weekend, and we would just see the doorbell notifications from DoorDash like 3 times a weekend of him just DoorDashing everything so he didn't have to leave the house. I don't know. It's just weird. Because also, like, a UPS person, granted, they're not the most professional of all professionals, but they're more professional than some random person who's door dashing, who drives up to your house and gets out and just like puts food that they're touching with their hands.
Except now there's so many people that will like deliver, like if it comes from certain places. I've had someone drive in from a little Toyota, like, and I'm like,
Yeah,
what the heck's
that's
going on?
so
They're like,
common
oh, this
now.
is your order. I'm like, I ordered on Amazon. So
Yeah, I don't like that.
yeah, I didn't really like that, because it's like, who the heck is coming up? But like, I mean, I get maybe it's probably a little bit different, because I mean, like, ever since I was a kid, I mean, we would go out and get pizza too, but we'd get delivery all the time. I mean, over the years, obviously. It's not
We went out to going out to fast food or something was like a twice a year like special treat when I was growing
like right
up.
now,
So, like,
I
we
want to
definitely
order.
never
I want to
ordered
order
a pizza
right now. I'm like very tempted to buy pizza right now.
It sounds. I mean, you should just give yourself a pizza, which is also funny because you live like not far at all from a shopping center with lots of restaurants.
Yeah.
I've got Papa Point.
Yes, you are a father. Congratulations.
Are Papa Points just what it says? Wait, you spend so much money with Papa John's? You could order pizza from anywhere, and you're ordering from Papa John's?
Well, like I've ordered pizza from everywhere, but like
okay.
when you get it from a specific pizza delivery like company, it's gonna get here much faster than it is most of the time for DoorDash, unless you spend a crap load of.
Which is probably why you should just go pick it up.
DoorDash makes things so expensive.
But I'm like, you never had like it's like a nice cold day. Like I just want to order like.
I know I drive to the pizza place and I pick it up.
This would go in a very long conversation of the levels of convenience and what. Like
right, but see, like Joel, we get takeout pizza fairly often from Mellow Mushroom, but like I drive and pick it up every time. We get
also
takeout,
makes sense because it's Mellow.
We get takeout at least once or twice a week, and usually like on the weekend or something. And I always drive and pick it up, no question.
I would say my pickup of pizza versus order is probably 25% to 75% delivery. That'd be my guess. Like, because if we're gonna order, we would probably get Papa John's. Like, if we're out, we might.
This is really gonna bother me.
How much does how much does it cost for an average pizza delivery?
What does it cost?
Yes, like if it's
I'm like to me, I'm like I don't even think about that. Like, because it's like my time of like, hey, I'm home. Like, I'm hanging out with my wife. Like, we're doing stuff. We're playing games or whatever. Like, we're ordering pizza. It's awesome. It's gonna come.
I'm making Bigfoot cult conspiracy cassette tapes. I can't go pick up a pizza. I have to continue the story.
It just comes down to certain people's different appreciation of different conveniences. I mean, that's straight up that. Well, I mean, like, didn't you get like all those box food things or whatever? You make your own stuff.
We did that for a while, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm like,
that's a pretty good value though, like per meal.
Well, again, remember this comes back
to
that,
different. It's UPS.
It's different.
It's a UPS person that has so many packages to deliver that day. They're not thinking about my house anymore. Versus some like 25-year-old coming to my house at 8:30 in the evening in their clapped out car.
Joel's right though.
Like it.
The contractors that everyone's using right now, they really ought to have like magnetic decals or something for the cars. Most of them do, but sometimes you don't. I went out the front door the other day. We have a long driveway, and there's just a beat up black minivan just slowly backing down the driveway. I'm just sitting at the front door like.
All right. Well, then I feel like we need to talk about this again real quick. The Eatagram test that I came up with. It makes so much sense. I've come up with the 4 different values of stuff. You have to rate between 1 to 4 or first to last, right?
Rank them in order.
Yeah, you have to rank them. Yeah, rank them in order between cost, texture of food, presentation of food, and flavor. And so some people cost is like number 1. And
mine is flavor, texture, presentation, cost. I actually don't. The cost is probably the least important thing. Is the delivery thing has nothing to do with cost. It's people on my property in my space that I don't want there. That's 100%. I don't want them coming to my house and handing me food. I want to go to the professionals who made it, and I want to take it from their hands, and I don't want anyone else to touch it.
Interesting.
I would not have guessed that Jeremiah would have a bigger perimeter security ickiness than I would, but I think that's actually the case.
It's just I just don't want it. I just don't want it. I just don't want it. I just don't want it there. I just don't want to see it.
I mean, I can understand that more.
Cost.
I mean, it sounds a little bit more of like the anxiety of like having the unknown come up to your house. So I get this, so like you're not gonna.
Which is funny because when car parts are getting delivered. When car parts are getting delivered,
you're out there like
excited.
Hugging the person.
I help them carry them sometimes if they're heavy. I'm pumped. Again,
okay,
that's a
now
professional
you're just stupid.
Jeremiah's like, come in the front door. I'll give you a tour of the house as we go through.
The jacuzzi going right now.
The valuables
and everything.
When a Carvana guy came to buy one of our cars a couple years ago, he asked a couple questions, and I ended up taking him on a full tour of the garage to show him.
Okay, all right. This is
yeah.
Dave's makes sense.
Joe, you'll understand. He was a young guy.
Yours
he was a young car enthusiast, and he was like, "Oh man, I can't believe you're selling."
So I have close friends with Papa John's people now. Actually, like I know it was some of them. Like over the years.
You have close friends with Papa John people. I need you to explain what on earth
there's some drivers that I actually grew up with that they were in some of my classes.
Oh, so you want him to come deliver your pizza so you can like not tip him, and it's just like a whole power dynamic thing.
It's a whole power dynamic.
This is Jeremiah. This is like when the guy who can't stop going to strip clubs is convinced that all the ladies just like really like
Dave, does this piss you off? So like I always I was going to say, I always piss off pizza people. No.
Stay with me, Joel. Stay with me.
Why did I lose the word tip and I turned into piss?
I'm sorry.
I always tip pizza people. But here's the thing. So one time when I ordered, sometimes when you wouldn't know because you've never ordered delivery pizza, but when you order, you can like choose like, hey, your percentage, like I'm gonna here's an extra $5 for thanks. Here's a tip, right? Well, sometimes in the earlier Papa John's app, it was actually kind of easy to miss. Like you'd go and you tap it, but if you tap something else, it would unselect it. So you'd like order a pizza and they arrive and you can like tell the look in their eyes like something was off. Like, and you're just like, and I'm like, hey, thanks for the pizza. And you could just like tell like they just didn't care. They weren't as jovial as they used to be, right? So then anytime that happened, I'm like, and I would check that, I'm like, oh shit, I didn't hit the tip button. So I would call and be like, hey, can you look like the driver that came out? And they're like, oh yeah, that was Joe Blow or whatever. I was like, hey, can I pay for a tip here? And so I'd always make sure to do it afterwards. But it was always funny because like you could see the like it's like tear in the eye almost.
I just thought of another bit of information that's not going to make me look any better, but in full transparency, I need to tell it.
Okay, yeah.
When I sell stuff on like Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or whatever.
Oh no!
I will not. I don't drive and meet people places. They have to come to my house. No. It gets worse. Most of the time,
they have to come to my house. I have to have a steak dinner. We must break bread.
Well, see, the thing about Facebook Marketplace, I think that's easier than Craigslist to weed out the weirdos ahead of time.
I definitely agree with that. That's for sure.
Most of the time. Now, over the winter break, I was selling a bunch of stuff. I was selling like an air compressor, a generator,
selling
myself, just cleaning out the garage. Okay, and one day I decided I'm going to list it all for sale today for good enough prices. I'm going to sell this all today, and I sold almost everything that afternoon. One guy came to pick up the generator later that day. He pulled in this old Chevy Blazer. Now, look, you don't want to judge a book by its cover. However,
I got cash in my pocket and passion in my heart.
You can get some hints. He had this old rusty Chevy Blazer that definitely was having engine trouble. There was an old sun-bleached Confederate flag spread across the whole dash. He got out. There were tattoos.
Spread you.
There were tattoos right here, like teardrop tattoos, and I was like, "Oh no!"
His username was BadTech69.
So we came down and we were like, and he was looking at the generator. And I don't take them inside the house. I take them down the driveway. The garage door is
into my
open.
Basement, lock the door, and have a private conversation.
It's not great. But there are cameras watches the whole time and everything.
Dude.
There's cameras watches the whole time. The house is locked. Like I'm not.
Ain't gonna save you.
Anyway.
As he makes a mental map of your driveway.
I realized that because when he was in there looking at the generator, and I was looking at him like, these are prison tattoos.
Taking
like he had lots of just random
iPhone.
Tattoos all over his arms and stuff. I was like, this is prison ink. This is either prison or like your meth head cousin did it in your kitchen, like as a stick and poke.
I'm gonna remember you. You didn't give me a discount.
I did switch over to the ooh. This transaction needs to end now. This needs to end.
But oh no, a pizza delivery boy.
Yeah, so like I get it. All right, thinking about it now, I'm like, I don't know if this is a morally consistent stance I have.
I'm consistent. The very few times that we've done a pickup from our actual property, it has been at the very end of the driveway, and I am standing there showing them where to stop. I'm not even kidding. Like, this is where you go.
Dave's pointing the flashlight on the end of the AR.
No.
And you can stop here. You stop at the laser. Stop at the laser.
Stop at the laser.
It looks like a border control checkpoint. I have the cones up.
But yeah.
Dave, what would it take for you to order a pizza? Again, like if you get it from a certain restaurant that you like that doesn't have delivery to, then that makes sense too. But how often do you get pizza from a chain that would actually deliver to you? Because that's different. You know what I mean? Like obviously if you're not into Papa John's,
like 50,
then
50.
Like, why would you ever get delivery? You know, but
yeah, we don't usually do chains. It's only me and Micah doing cheese right now too, so it's like only for us anyway. But half the time it is like a specialty pizza from like a smaller place.
So what you're saying is one of the gift cards that I'm hiding in my hunt needs to be a Papa John's gift card specifically for delivery for Dave.
Delivery only. It's like a legal requirement.
Written in blood. You must order.
It's funny.
Could if I gave you money, Dave, would you order a pizza?
To the end of the driveway, yeah.
He would be there with the gun, the laser, set the pizza down, Drop the hot and ready.
Or you're gonna be hot and ready.
Oh man.
It is funny to think about, like, as how do I phrase this? As budget conscious as my parents were growing up. I mean, I learned it from somewhere. We did still order delivery occasionally.
Did you hate them? Did you loathe your parents because of that?
Maybe
I'm like, well, not maybe not loathe, but I'm like, did you ever go like, that's wasting money, and like that just buried down deep, like we could have picked that up.
It's funny. It might have just been because of just the scenario of having two kids. They're just like get the pizza to the door now. We'll pay whatever it takes. Because now that I think about it, I don't think they've ordered delivery since like we moved out.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, I think, yeah, I mean, I ever since just growing up, I mean, like it was always, to me, it was always like a magical thing of like, I can't believe you can order like hot pizza and it come to your door. Because I don't think I've ever had, honestly, I don't think I've ever had a bad experience, like ever. I think there was only one time a pizza was set on something and it flipped over, but I don't even think it was there. I think they just like set it down, not great, but that was one time out of like thousands ever since I was a kid. You know what I mean? Thing like it, like them bringing a hot pizza and a fresh bottle of Coke or something. Like, the convenience too of it is awesome.
I'll agree with
but
you there, Joel.
as a kid, some of the best memories I ever had was going with my dad to pick up a pizza, and he'd let me hold it, and it'd be like just hot pizza, and it smelled so good.
The weight sucked.
And every once in a while, and it was like once out of every 20 times we do it, he'd be like, all right, we're gonna have a slice. Like we'd have a slice in the car, and that was like some of the best ever bonding time with my dad. It was just like, because you're like, oh, we could have the first slice. It was just so much fun, especially going out. Like I took Matthew out a couple months ago. It was like pouring, storming rain. I was like, I just want pizza. So I was like, we're going on an adventure. We're gonna go get pizza, and I brought him along, and we're sitting there, and he's looking through the windows, as they're making pizza. I'm like, there's something fun about it. So I'm like, yeah.
Do you bring him along when you're hiding? All
I think about is
stuff in abandoned buildings. Does he come with you on that?
He's come along a lot actually. So
all right, that's going to be some interesting memories to unpack when he gets older.
He loves being outside and exploring and stuff.
He does now, but one day he's going to be like 18. He's going to be like, Dad, I'm having a hard time piecing some memories together here. I was hoping you could help explain.
I remember like we were digging, and there was someone that said help or something, and then the dirt went on top, and there was no more help sounds.
And you were like, no, son, that's part of the game. That's part of the game.
It's all part of the scavenger hunt.
I'm just picturing the Netflix crime documentary 15 years from now, The Lord of the Dance.
That's the title.
He began as an aspiring filmmaker. He ended as a snuff filmmaker out in the woods, hunting his friends for sport, with an elaborate series of traps. It ended like many stories do. Well, guys, this has been the Casual Shenanigans Gaming Podcast, a podcast all about
pizza
gaming.
Dude, I'm starving. I want a pizza so bad.
You can write in to tell us about your delivery man experiences or preferences at casualshenanigans@gmail.com, or you can tweet at casualshenanigan, or you can leave a comment on this video, and if we get some good ones, we might cover them in the next episode. But thank you to everybody who came out and was a part of the live chat this time. We like you guys at least a decent amount. We'll see you next time. And until next time, Joel, what should they do?
Stay casual.
Well, order a pizza for delivery.